I honestly fully support abortion. I think that more women should have the options to have an abortion. I think that if they're illegal in certain states, you can go to other states, save up the money, find somebody who will help you, who will believe in you and why you want to have an abortion, enough to be able to take you to a state where you can have an abortion. Because I believe that a woman should have the right to choose, even though we're being treated as cattle, literal cows that pop out babies, and we're treated as animals in by the everybody in society, including the government, who refers to women as host body. We as women, not host bodies. We're not host fucking bodies, government. I want you to know that. We're women. We're human beings at the end of the day, no matter what you fucking think of us. And Bill Gates, I don't give a fuck what billionaires like you think of us. We are not, as black people, going to eat bugs and do all of these disgusting, inhumane things because you think so low of everybody else that's not a fucking billionaire and that is black, that we should be sitting around homeless with nothing, eating bugs. I fucking heard what you said, Bill Gates. So if you don't want to be fucking talked about, if you don't want somebody pointing out what your billionaire friends are sitting around laughing at people who are struggling and going through shit, then don't come on and say things like you that make the announcements and say the things that you fucking said. But of course, billionaires get away with any fucking thing because they print the money, because they control everything. They can just do whatever the fuck they want to. And they can do whatever the fuck they want to human beings, living human beings, especially women. Because let's face it, the people at the top hate women. They hate women. They don't want us to choose what we do with our bodies. They don't want us to have access to free rights so that we can have an abortion if we really need one, if we were raped, if we were sodomized, if whatever happens to us. And I was sodomized, but thank God that I didn't get fucking pregnant. But that's one of the reasons why I think abortion should be legal in every single state. But the government, who calls women host bodies, doesn't believe in that because they're billionaires who don't give a shit about people, especially women. They want women to suffer. They want women to be punished. Even Donald Trump himself said, there should be consequences, for women who decide to have an abortion while he's partying, while he used to party with pedophiles like Jeffrey Epstein on his island, which I learned later on is actually, they say, the same island as Nickelodeon. They say something. There was some correlation with Nickelodeon and Epstein Island, I think. But yeah, just the hatred that I, as a woman, especially a black woman, have dealt with my entire life. And the fear for my safety 24/7 with everything that I have gone through. And a woman can't even defend herself without winding up in prison. A woman can't even defend herself from someone who is trying to attack and rape her without winding up behind bars. I was afraid to even carry pepper spray with me for fear that a judge was going to take a look at that and say, oh, she pepper sprayed him. I'm going to just throw the hammer at her. I'm going to make sure that she serves as much time behind bars as possible because she pepper sprayed a man that tried to rape her. I couldn't even use pepper spray because I was in fear of my fucking life and my freedom being taken away. Not only was I in fear of my life when I was out on the streets homeless, I was also in fear of defending myself because I knew defending myself could get me put in jail for a very long fucking time. So I couldn't really fucking do anything. because of how the government and the law, how they operate. There is a thing called statute of limitations. So when I went to a legal person to try to take my adoptive family to court for all the abuse they put me through as a child, they said that the law of statute of limitations is protecting them from going to prison, because those things that they did to me happened a long time ago. And in order for them to have served any time in prison, somebody would have had to have fought for you as a child. And unfortunately, they didn't fight for you as a child, and that is why they are able to get away with what they did to you, because it happened so many years ago. Statute of limitations protects predators in your family from going to prison. But they wanted me to get locked up for speaking out to their church home about what they did to me, raping me as a child. And all the other kinds of abuse, like making me eat out of the trash, verbal and emotional abuse, saying that I was going to hell, saying that I was worthless, saying that nobody would ever want me, saying the nastiest and doing the nastiest things to me, beating me to the point where I would leave trails of blood from my door to somebody else's door. I would leave trails of blood. They would beat me so badly. So it wasn't just the sexual abuse, it wasn't just the emotional abuse or the verbal abuse, it was the beatings and how bad the beatings were. And I told you guys in other videos how my adopted parents kept me quiet, how they kept control over me by isolating me, by putting fear into me. Those are narcissistic abuse tactics 101. Isolation and fear are some of the biggest tactics that an abuser uses on their victim. And even though I consider myself a survivor and no longer a victim, that is how they kept my mouth shut for so many years.